grandmother. I didn't know this at the time. I only ended up learning this due to Frank's roast, but I guess Tony lived with his grandmother. And like I said, Tony was a pretty popular kid. His grandmother would walk him to school every morning, and I guess his grandmother, like, knew some of his friends. And it just so happens that Tony's grandmother is in a wheelchair. No, not through any fault of her own. Like, it wasn't like she was sitting there one day like, it would be great if I just sat in a wheelchair from now on. But she was in a wheelchair for whatever reason, and people knew this at the school because she would, well, I guess she wouldn't walk him to school, she would roll him to school. But you guys get the idea, all right? Very sweet grandma, doing very sweet grandma things. She would roll her grandson to school every morning like a chubby kid down a hill. So Frank, sensing that he was on the verge of a defeat, decides to say something along the lines of, yeah, I might be, weird looking, but at least my grandma can walk, which is honestly probably the most horrible thing you can say. I'm not laughing because, like, it's funny, all right? It's just, when someone says something that's, like, so horrible that it's, it's funny. Like, you just can't help but laugh. Like, picture this. Okay, I'm a third grader witnessing my first day in middle school, all right? I'm like, oh, okay, what is middle school actually going to be like? I have to go report to the kids in my class what this is like. I was taking notes on, like, what the bus was like so I could write this essay about what middle school was like for my classmates, and I'm sitting here and I just hear one eighth grader say to another, I might be ugly and look weird, but at least my grandma can walk, which just really upped the ante, all right? So Tony, at that point, I do not know how he manages to restrain himself, but he proceeds to unleash some insults on Frank, all right? And they were pretty bad, okay? They were pretty mean. Frank was a chubby guy, and he said something along the lines of, you have something on your chin, and Frank looked down and goes, oh, no, not that one, the fourth one. Like, he was kind of going in on the guy pretty hard, and Frank starts to get upset, and Frank starts to cry. And usually, when the person you're flaming starts to cry, that's when you let up. You shouldn't flame anyone till they cry ever. I'm not saying you should do this. Like, if YouTube is watching this, I'm not advocating for bullying. You should not do this. It's a story of what not to do. But Frank starts crying, but I mean, hey, you made fun of his grandma for being in a wheelchair, bro. Did you expect him to take it easy on you? Like, come on, let's be realistic here. So Frank starts crying, but Tony keeps roasting. He just doesn't let up, which, in some cases is not good, but in other cases is entertaining, and don't do it. Don't do it, kids. I'm not advocating for that. Anyways, so whatever. He starts crying, and finally Tony relaxes and sits down, and he looks over at me in my third grade face with, like, my jaw dropped, like, oh my god, what just happened? And he's like, okay, can you not tell my teachers about this? Because at the end of the day, for him too, I was gonna have to go to the people that organized this with the middle school and be like, yeah, Tony was the coolest, he did nothing wrong. But, like, I just witnessed him absolutely eviscerate a kid so disgustingly well verbally on a bus that he started crying. You know how much it takes to get somebody to cry from, like, just your words? That is an evil skill, dude. Like, this guy was made to be a lawyer, and not a good lawyer, all right? Tony was made to be one of those lawyers that, like, gets the oil companies off with, just getting away with drilling. Like, he's that good with his words somehow, and not in, like, the best way ever. So I keep my mouth shut. I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to say anything, because A, I'm not a snitch, and B, I just witnessed what this kid can do if he's angry, and I would rather not have him be angry with me, all right? I'm a fragile little kid, man. I'm a third grader. I don't know what's up. So I keep my mouth shut, and we go about our day. The field trip is quite enjoyable. Me and Tony just kind of vibe out, walking around this museum, looking at dinosaurs and stuff. It was pretty cool. We talked more about video games. We were just vibing out. Like, he was a pretty cool dude. I didn't have any beef with him other than the fact that, there was a crying kid back there. But I don't feel bad for Frank either. Like, it's just one of those situations where everybody involved is kind of like, oh, you're scary now because you just
holy
made
shit,
it,
y'all are actually awake?
You are scary because you made fun
Damn!
of a wheelchair.
I haven't seen you in a fucking week.
Okay? Plus, Tony was really nice, and I probably would have done the same thing. As much as I would like to pretend that I'm a
Ready for
better
the dentist
person than
tomorrow?
Tony, I'm
You
not.
ate it all?
Went after my
It was up to
grandma for
here.
being in a wheelchair.
Ready for the
Oh
dentist?
my
Ready for the
God.
dentist tomorrow?
No.
To be completely honest, so
I'm not going tomorrow.
All up in
I'm
your
not going
mouth
tomorrow.
right
I'm
there.
not
No,
going
I'm not going tomorrow. I'm not
I'll
going.
schedule it on Friday so
Nah.
I can take you.
Okay,
Nah.
can't make fun of your grandma in a wheelchair.
I'm going to Mama's.
So don't stay up too
So
late.
whatever.
You're going to
I
Mama's.
get
No,
back
you're
to
not.
class.
Yeah, I am.
No.
My class,
Yeah.
like the
He
middle
is.
school.
Yeah.
We're about to separate
No,
ways.
you're not.
And
Yeah, I
Dean
am.
walks up to me and he says,
That's gonna
"Hi,
save me from
were
the
you with
dentist.
Tony today?" And I go,
Screw
"Yes."
the dentist.
He goes, "Will you
No.
with me, please?"
Dentist
Screw
can
the
suck it.
You
dentist.
have to go. You guys haven't been for just a cleaning in a
I
very
walk
long time. You need to
with
go.
the dean to the office, you know, and I don't really know what's going
But
on.
the-
Maybe they just wanna be like, "Oh,
It
no,
feels
you
like
know,
a drill
there's
going through your
report."
teeth.
I get to the office and he says, "Was there a bullying incident today on the bus when you and Tony were on your way to the museum?" And I'm like, "No, I don't know what you're talking about." He says, "Well, you know, the reason that I'm asking is you sat next to Tony, and Tony and Frank are in the other room.
Just
because
got 200
they got
pounds.
they got back to school."
Let's do this.
Like, listen, you got away with the roast vote. You can't fight him, and I guess it came out that they were both, you know,
Let's do
on the
this.
bus arguing, but that Tony was bullying Frank way more than the other way around. And I'm like, okay, listen, hear me out. Third grade me, you know, little me just, well, they were both being mean, you know. I said they were both being mean. He's like, oh, what do you mean? So I recount the story. Little third grade me having to be like, yeah, that's why my grandma can walk, to this grown man, this like dean that obviously, you know, deals with much more serious stuff on a daily basis. But here I am just recounting the best
No.
some dean as a third grader. My middle school career started off with a bang for sure. So the principal is hearing me say all this, and his eyes are all wide, or like the dean or the principal, same thing. What is the difference between a dean and a principal? I don't get it. So whatever. He's like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to call your parents. You know, like, I can't believe this. I'm so sorry for the poor example set by our students. He's freaking out because now he realizes that he has a third grader that witnessed, you know, some straight up stuff that I
Don't
guess
kill me,
I
please.
didn't really care, dude. Like I said, I was playing Call of Duty online at the time on Xbox, so I didn't care. These words were bouncing off of me like it was nothing. Do you understand what early Call of Duty lobbies sounded like in, like, you know, the mid to early 2010s? It was insane.
No.
People would just be calling each other every word under the sun. It was a race to see who could say
God
more swear words in
damn
a second. So
I'm not even gonna be able to make it. Nope.
So whatever, I'm kind of explaining the situation. I guess it wasn't the first time that Frank was in trouble for saying horrible things to people because, you know, I was sitting outside of the dean's office and he bought Frank and Tony back and he starts telling Frank, you know, this is the third time that you've had an incident like this. You know, you have to be nicer to your other students, like the people around you are a community. Us as a school,
I found better
yada, 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 all the crap.